All right. Let's go to Madam Jeannie. Aha, here we go. Our wonderful ambassador, Janet. I hope I pronounce it well. She will correct me anyway. Rapstad, an award-winning international speaker, award-winning writer, educationist, academic journal editor, speaker and pitch coach, seminar presenter, entrepreneur with international business experience, working actress and comedian. Oh, wow. A comedian. Wow. October 2022 to present instructor, Purdue University Northwest Commercialization and Manufacturing Excellence Center, Hammond, Indiana. Contract instructor for Purdue CMEC Pitch Masters Workshop for students and adult entrepreneurs. What can I say as well? In October 2020, to present, up to now, Ambassador Jeannie is also the president and also prepare and present entertainment and educational speaker programs under the registered U.S. Patent and Trademark Office service marks. Speech Jenny or speaker. And Jenny present comic sketches. Oh, wow. And also present humor workshops for business and youthful speakers. Oh my gosh, she's multitask now. Beware. Ongoing, Ambassador Jeannie Rapstad present comic sketches, like I've said, such as Happy Heart Parade Show. Now I know the reason why she's putting on a very beautiful green or lilac color with scarf, smiling with lipstick. Now I know the reason. Years of professional presentation in 7 states: Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, California, and Florida. Please forgive me if I don't pronounce all those states. International Educational Association. She is the Chicago International India UK core team, tenacity country ambassador for the USA. It's also weekly contributors for CCE, YYCI, broadcast by I'm trying to do that. I will do it. I think it's like combination of education and entertainment, something like that.
That's right. So it's edutainment.
Okay, edutainment, spoken English and smart classes in India. He's also the mentor forces education change maker for Metaforces in India. Wow, wow. Do I still have any other thing? Right, let me welcome my ambassador, Jeannie Rapstad from USA.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Before she speaks, don't you like her cap? The hat,
Yeah.
the green one with a nice scarf
Thank you.
and smiling. I believe we are. But
Thank you so much.
I'll give you a secret. She's gonna now move us from another dimension of what Professor Nada and Professor Mutola has taught us. She's now going to move us into a very serious moment. And I want to implore you all, sit down, relax, and listen with attentive ears. And this is the moment of transformation. This is the moment of inspiration. This is the moment of experience as she shares the story. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me? Do you have a good sound level?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Very good.
Yes, we can.
I am delighted to be here. I'm going to share my masterclass study, which employs a narrative communication approach. Many of you know that my master's degree is in communication, and we use narrative approach a lot in gathering research in case studies that involve the human being's reaction to their environment and their circumstances. Then this is a personal narrative that involved me and my aged mother as we navigated end-of-life communication with each other, with my mother's medical professionals. And after her death, I updated my paper to include the interactions with her hospice team. When I first researched and wrote this paper, I was a graduate student at Purdue University Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. Originally, the paper was a research project for a class titled The Dark Side of Interpersonal Communication. At the time, I was a 68-year-old graduate student enrolled in my next to last course in graduate school. I had been the sole caregiver to my aged mother for 4 years at this point in time. I was taking one class semester while taking care of her. I asked my mother if she would mind if I wrote about caregiving an invalid for my course paper. My mother thought it was a good idea. You see, my mother was a retired nurse. She thought that our experience might help other people. I want you to know and understand that I consulted my mother regarding the details I shared about her health issues. I did not reveal anything about her condition without her approval. In April of 2018, my paper was selected for presentation at Purdue University Northwest Days of Discovery, which is a forum for celebration of student and faculty research. One of the most important things about communicating with an aging and infirmed parent is that we must preserve their dignity. Because my mother was a nurse, it was easier for her to discuss her health issues than it might be for other people. As caregivers, we have to have the empathy to understand this point. What follows is now a summary of my narrative. As an adult daughter caregiver, I examined and reframed my role as full-time caregiver to my depressed 89-year-old invalid mother. My mother was suffering from chronic back pain along with other serious chronic health issues that had destroyed her quality of life. The three main topics explored in this narrative studies were my end-of-life communication with my elderly mother to clarify her end-of-life preparation and choices with an emphasis on advanced health directives, my day-to-day attendance to her caregiver needs while dealing with my own anticipatory grief, and the caregiver stress and fatigue and depression that I experienced over time as a caregiver. My mother lived in a constant state of pain, sometimes agonizing pain, and she appeared to give up on life. Mom lost 40 pounds in a very short period of time. This caused me to consider whether she was using voluntary stopping of eating and drinking, known as VSED, as a means to hasten death. I suffered stress and depression due to the constant demands of providing 24-hour-a-day care to my mother while having to cope with my own anticipatory grief and the hopeless feeling of not being able to relieve her pain. My study described the hardships on both my mother and me caused by my mother's secondary condition of chronic fecal incontinence. I did not have regular support from family or friends to relieve my caregiver burden. Findings in numerous studies have demonstrated that by using narrative approach as a means of coping with anticipatory grief, soul caregivers like me could reframe their experience. Research findings also supported the notion that it is important for family and friends to provide emotional and other support to soul carers to relieve their burden. At this point, I would like to take just a few minutes to share a short PowerPoint so that you can see who we're talking about here. So if you would let me share, I'm going to go to share screen.
Yes, you can share.
Okay, and then we're going to go here, share. Can you see that? Yes?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so now I'm going to, I want to get to the point where I can slideshow start from the beginning. Okay. All right, so this is my title slide, Life Experience with an Aged Parent. And this is the 4 points I'm going to cover. I just did the study summary. I'll talk about the research significance briefly. I'll go into the narrative, and then we'll have a brief literature review. I would like you to see my mother. This is one of my favorite pictures of her. She was just a little girl at this particular time. Her name was Mary Laverne, but her father always called her Vaughn. So she grew up being called Vaughn. That is a tradition in my family because my mother named me Jean, but called me Jeannie her entire life. So I wonder, why didn't you just name me Jeannie? But this is what we do in my family. We name you something and call you something else. This lovely picture is my mother as she graduated from high school. And it is one of my favorite pictures of her altogether. And this is a gorgeous picture of my mother. She was probably in her early 50s at this particular time. And this is a picture of her later in life. She's probably in her late 80s at this particular time. And these are 4 of my favorite shots. And I think it gives you a good idea of what she looked like. So as I talk about her, I hope you'll keep her in mind. My mother and I like to dress alike. This was one of the ways that we bonded in the latter part of our life. We didn't do this all our lives, but when my mother came to live with me in June of 2006, we adopted this habit of dressing alike, and I enjoyed it, and my mother really enjoyed it. So here we are back when I had brown hair. And then this was a picture over here was on her 90th birthday where I'm white hair just like her. So we'll talk about 3 talks, having the talk about dying, anticipatory grief, and the dark side of caregiving. So I did a research with 25 peer-reviewed articles in journals by mostly nurses that were charge nurses for hospice or clinicians or nurse practitioners. We are not going to be able to cover that in my time frame. So I'm just going to touch on having the talk where we ask our parents if they have made a will, if they have burial plans. So we'll have that. And then even though I was the caregiver and I had assumed sort of the mother role, I was still the child. And this is what everybody experiences. Mostly adult caregivers are the females in the family. And we have to move in and assume the role for parents who are invalids because they can no longer attend to themselves. But while we're assuming that role, we still have the feelings of being their child. So the final thought that I'm going to leave with you is that before I start my narrative, is that I took care of my mother by myself for 5 years until she went into hospice. And I often asked myself toward the end, since I don't have any children, who's going to help me die? That's a question that many people who take care of their parents ask themselves. So at this particular, I'm going to stop the share and go back to the screen. And I'm going to mention just briefly the significance of this study so that we're all on the same page on why we use narrative approach when we are gathering this kind of research criteria. The significance of this study is that it demonstrated the effectiveness of narrative approach as the sole caregiver examined and reframed her role while dealing with anticipatory grief and caregiver burden. It also provides a reminder that adult children serving as caregivers should engage in end-of-life communication with their elderly parents to address end-of-life preparation preference issues, including advanced health directives. We live in an aging society where many adult children, especially adult daughters, are called upon to provide full-time caregiving service to their adult parents. Sometimes the caregiving role is entered into voluntarily. However, in many instances, the acceptance of caregiving responsibilities for an aging parent is not a voluntary action, but a reluctant decision based upon financial necessity or other factors. Many full-time caregivers feel trapped in their roles and long to have their lives back. The caregivers often feel guilty about having those kinds of feelings. This guilt can lead to depression as the caregiver attempts to cope with his or her role. Effective support from family and friends can go a long way in easing the burden on sole caregivers. Minimizing their stress can help release the feelings of captivity as caregivers deal with their anticipatory grief. Sole caregivers who provide end-of-life care to elderly parents at home often feel trapped. This state of mind leads to depression as they wait for their loved ones to pass away. A caregiver who employs narrative approach in dealing with their feelings can inspire others to provide comfort or assistance to them while they carry out their role. Narrative approach can also provide an emotional release as well as assist the caregiver in reframing his or her role in his or her mind as he or she progresses toward the actual bereavement stage. Talking about his or her situation can ease the stress that a longtime caregiver faces on a daily basis. This kind of research is important because it helps to call attention to the importance of providing support to people who are caregiving their elderly parents. People in our society are so busy with their own lives, they may forget that others could use a helping hand. It's been said that it takes a village to raise a child. It can also be said that it takes support from family and friends to ease the burden of a sole caregiver attending to an ailing or dying parent. It is hoped that further research utilizing narrative approach will help raise an awareness in our society to help family caregivers. And now I would like to move into my narrative, please. Picture, if you will, a green Dodge Grand Caravan vehicle is careening down the Interstate 80 highway at the start of what was going to be a month-long trip of a lifetime. I was driving. The other occupants in the van were my mother and our cat, Kira. All of us were senior citizens. Mom was 86 years old at the time, I was 66, and our cat, Kira, was 13 years old. We left on November 4th, 2014. We were headed to Thermopolis, Wyoming, where I was booked to present my show, Jeannie Rapstad Presents Comic Sketches, at the Wyoming Pioneer Home on November 7th. Later that month, I was booked to perform my show at the American Legion Post 31 in Salinas, California. The remaining days of our trip were spent stopping along the way to visit family and friends. We were having the time of our lives. Although I didn't say it out loud, my instinct told me that this trip was my mother's farewell tour. As it turned out, that was prophetic. Following our trip of a lifetime, my mother's health became more fragile. Although Mom was using a walker during our trip, she was still pretty spry, walking here and there with measured energy. Upon our return home, I noticed that her gait was slower and she was much more hunched over the walker as she moved about our house. Her knees bothered her. She was losing strength in her arms and shoulders. The more her mobility issues came to the front, the less times mom wanted to go out for meals or other activities. Life was slowing down for her. She seemed to need me more and more to assist in daily activities. I was gradually becoming her full-time caregiver. And this was not a role that I altogether relished. Of course, I wanted to help my mother in her old age. However, I still had hopes and dreams and goals for myself. And I wanted to pursue those goals while I was still young and healthy enough to accomplish what I had set out to do. Spending my days and nights being a full-time caregiver to an invalid was going to seriously affect the timeline I had set for myself. You see, I had retired from my patent paralegal job on December 31st, 2013, just 6 months before we went on our trip of a lifetime. And my plan was to take my part-time entertainment speaking business to a full-time career. Almost immediately upon my retirement, my mother started falling. This resulted in several late night calls to 911 for paramedic assistance in helping mom get to her feet. My mother stopped driving. We had a long series of medical appointments with doctors and specialists to determine the cause of the falling. We had in-house physical therapy and outpatient physical therapy. Excuse me. I was slowly becoming mom's full-time caregiver with everything that entailed. Full-time cook, housekeeper, chauffeur, and personal assistants. Mom's health was surely and rapidly failing. Mom had her good days and her bad days, although now it seemed that there were more bad days than good. Mom joked that she was in pretty good shape for the shape she was in. The fact is that she was in pain most of the time. I came across her a couple of times sitting in her recliner chair, crying from severe sciatica pain. I could sense mom was depressed and needed to visit her loved ones. I decided to drive that 5,000-mile round trip so that mom could have her farewell tour. It was worth it to both of us. Mom and I had been discussing wills and advanced health directives. Before we left on our trip, we engaged a lawyer to prepare wills, durable power of attorneys, and advanced health directives for both of us. We already had joint bank accounts for mom's liquid assets. The discussion of the disposition of her treasury bills would come a few years later when I pressed the issue. By that time, mom was essentially an invalid, and I was devoting almost all my time to taking care of her. In January of 2017, mom started suffering from severe back pain every day. Life had become almost unbearable for her, and I wanted to take her to a doctor. But mom didn't want to leave the house. It was cold outside, and some days the steps were icy. Mom could barely stand and was worried about falling down the back steps on the way to the garage. Mom thought her sciatica was acting up again, along with her usual lower back pain. We just tried to handle the problem with a doctor over the telephone. We had a prescription filled. It did not relieve her pain. Mom asked, "Why is God letting me suffer like this?" Her doctor ordered home health nursing through their medical network. When the nurse manager called in advance of the preliminary assessment, I described my mother's condition in detail. Fortunately, the nurse manager was listening. She immediately contacted mom's doctor. We received a call from her doctor's nurse instructing us to take mom for emergency care at the hospital right away. Mom was suffering so much she didn't want to leave the house, but I insisted and called 911 for the ambulance. This was the evening of January 16, 2017. Thus began an unpleasant odyssey of ineffective treatment and lack of any real pain management. Mom was hospitalized, then transferred to an inpatient rehab facility. The treatment plan included ineffective pain medication and physical therapy. Finally, it was determined to send mom to a spine specialist who told us that the vertebrae in mom's lumbar region had collapsed inward upon itself. He would need to cement the vertebrae together. On February 17, 2017, mom underwent the cementing procedure. The specialist informed us that this procedure should have been done within days of her initial hospitalization. Essentially, my mother had spent an excruciating month of pain. unnecessarily. Although the cementing procedure eased the major pain, Mom was still suffering from severe nerve pain and bone spurs in the lumbar region. As often happens with older patients, Mom was suffering from more than one back-related problem at the time. The pain medication she was receiving did little to alleviate her pain. In addition, a major side effect of the drug was aggravated fecal incontinence. Since Mom already had bowel issues, this miserable side effect added to her depression. We implored the doctors to prescribe another pain medication. Our pleas were met with explanation that made no sense to us. They considered this drug to be the one that she needed and kept prescribing it despite the side effects. My mother wanted to die. When I visited her at the rehab facility, I could see a lack of will to live in her eyes. It was quite a shock to me to see her wearing the "Do Not Resuscitate" bracelet. Mom had lost 40 pounds over the course of a few months. She did not eat very much. When I tried to encourage her to eat, she told me she was sick to her stomach and had no appetite. I talked to the nurses about her weight loss and suggested giving her a dietary supplement. I brought some of her favorite foods to the rehab facility in order to encourage her to eat something. In my heart, I began to believe that my mother had given up and was deliberately starving herself so that she could die. This condition, sometimes called voluntary stopping of eating and drinking, VSED, and also known as silent suicide, is a pernicious killer of the elderly. I was forced to face the possibility that my mother was not going to survive this latest physical and mental crisis. So many times we hear the patient's survival is based upon their will to live, but my mother no longer had the will to live. She asked me, why don't I just die? That would be easier for everyone. We asked for a priest to visit my mother. In her presence, I told the priest, my mother has asked why God is letting her suffer like this. What is your answer to her question? The priest replied, your mother is providing an example to other people by surviving her suffering. I don't know about Mom, but I did not buy that explanation. How is living in pain every day and wishing you were dead encouraging anyone? I began to experience anticipatory grief. Mom told me that she wanted to live to see me get my master's degree. She was in so much pain, it broke my heart. I told her not to hang on just for me. I told her that if she felt she really needed to go, I would understand, because I knew that either way, she would be with me at the graduation ceremony. I told Mom that I was coming to terms with her dying. My mother was in so much pain and was having to suffer from the fecal incontinence every single day, all day long. I felt so sorry for her. At that point in time, I just wanted her to reach for the light. If Mom was going to die, I just wanted their transition to be as smooth as possible. Family and friends began to inquire if I had made any final arrangements. Mom had previously told me about her burial plot and where the papers pertaining to the plot were located. I received some suggestions about crematoriums from a family member and close friend, and I was really grateful for the recommendations. I talked to Mom about what she'd like me to mention about her life in her obituary. I explained my idea about the celebration of life party in lieu of a formal funeral. She expressed a favorable view of that memorial service. Although my mother was still in pain, she was released from the rehab center on April 28th. You see, the 100 days allowed my Medicare was up, so she was discharged. We tried to alleviate her pain through epidural injections by an anesthesiologist pain specialist. The 3 procedures failed. She was still in a lot of pain, and she was very dependent upon me to assist her with bathing, general hygiene, dressing, grooming, and the like. I handled her business affairs and all of her errands. Mom had diabetes and high blood pressure. I monitored and charted her blood sugar and blood pressure. The first thing we did when Mom arrived home was to discontinue the pain medication that was causing the fecal incontinence. The nurses were required to give the medication to my mother due to doctor's orders, but no one was going to insist that I force it upon her. Things improved substantially, although mother still suffered from explosive bowel syndrome. Fortunately, that condition did not occur every day. It was more like 3 or 4 times a week. I did my best to control that condition through diet, but it didn't always work. It was very hard on my mother's body to experience this kind of a chronic bowel condition. And, you know, every time it happened, sometimes she didn't move fast enough to get to the commode in her room. And so it was frustrating and disheartening for her. It also created a mess then for me to clean up, and it was so embarrassing for her. I was her child, and I had to help clean her in the most intimate area of her body. It was a delicate matter, and I understood, of course, that the situation was not her fault. She couldn't control this condition. However, knowing that did not make it any easier for me, nor did it make it less time consuming to deal with the cleanup situation. For a caregiver like me, this was an instance where compassion and empathy must come into play. No one wants to have this condition. It's demoralizing for the afflicted person. It takes patience and understanding on the part of the caregiver to deal with this kind of ongoing issue with an aging parent. There must be a concerted effort to help the afflicted patient maintain his or her dignity. Caregiving is an exhausting and stressful role to assume. It's not always voluntary. I fell into the full-time caregiver role because my mother lived with me and there was no one else upon whom she could rely. Because my mother was an invalid, caregiving took up most of my time. I didn't have family members that could help me look after her. I had some friends and neighbors who were very kind to me when I really needed them. The stress took its toll on me. I experienced breast cancer for the second time. When I had my mastectomy in 2016, family and friends brought prepared food to our house for Mom and me to eat so I would not have to cook while I was recovering from my surgery. One of my lady friends mowed our lawn a couple of times when I was recovering. These acts of kindness and support were very much appreciated. However, most of the time I was on my own and the full responsibility of burden taking care of Mom fell on me. Mom and I both tried to make the best of each day. It's not a fault being old and frail. There were some moments during my caregiving days when I felt like time was slipping away from me. I was beginning to have my own aches and pains. Sometimes I wondered if the stress of caregiving was aging me faster than I would like. It was at those times that I relied upon my faith for strength and positive attitude. The reality is that I was a full-time caregiver. Since that was the case, I tried to be as happy as I could while attending to my responsibility. In between taking care of Mom and attending to her errands and personal business, I continued working on my goals. I was not moving as fast as I would have liked, but I truly made my best effort to move forward. I tried not to feel resentment when I could not go to out of town conference or event because I just couldn't leave my mother alone. I tried not to feel put upon on the days that I was really stressed out because the truth was I didn't want my mother to live in a nursing home. We both wanted her living at home. Caregiving has its dark moments. Mom was almost 91 years old. She was transitioning. Sometimes I felt like death lived with us, like it was another entity in our household. I knew that one day I would wake up to find that she had passed away in the night. On the other hand, I knew that she could become completely bedridden and live in that condition for years to come. We just took it one day at a time. I wanted my mother to live as happy a life as possible for the time that she had left. I did my best to attend to her needs, to make her comfortable, and to serve her favorite foods, and was so grateful when she had an appetite to eat. There were days when I felt overwhelmed, especially if I hadn't slept well due to worry, stress, and my own sciatica pain. Every now and then, I would have liked to have taken a break from caregiving, but I didn't have any kind of support. It really annoyed me when people minimized my caregiving efforts by telling mom, "Oh, don't worry about Jeannie. You took care of her when she was a kid." What is the point of saying something stupid like that about a caregiver? Taking care of a child is not the same thing as taking care of an adult invalid. As children grow up, they can become an asset to you. They can help you carry groceries in from the car. They can help you by mowing the lawn or shoveling snow. They can run a vacuum or a washing machine. If you need to go out, you can pack a lightweight stroller and take a small child along with you. An invalid is not physically able to be helpful. They grow weaker and sicklier as time goes on. They require more and more care as they get closer to end of life. When we had to leave the house for a medical appointment, mom had to navigate stairs down to a transport chair so that I could wheel her to her van in the garage. Outside the house, mom went everywhere in her transport chair. The transport chair was very beneficial to me because it only weighed 25 pounds, which was 10 pounds lighter than her wheelchair. I had to lift that chair in and out of the van. It was cumbersome and a bit heavy for me. I was 69 years old at the time and had a bum hip. Fortunately, mom appreciated my efforts. Every evening when I tucked her into bed, mom told me, "Thank you for everything." When mom returned home from her stay at the rehab nursing home, it became clear to me that she was never ever going to get well. I had to accept that reality. When she was at her worst in the nursing home, I tried to encourage her to get well by talking about us going on another road trip. Mom and I had many enjoyable road trips since she came to live me, not the least of which was our trip of the lifetime. We would pack up mom's Dodge Grand Caravan with our luggage and Kitty's accoutrements and hit the open road. After a few weeks at home, it became clear to me that another road trip was a pipe dream. Mom was in too much pain and had very little stamina. Our trip of a lifetime was, in fact, her farewell tour. I was so happy that we took that trip. Our hours in the van talking about things we had never discussed before were helpful in that I felt that I had reached a new and more complete understanding of my mother and the events of her life. Even though we did not ever experience another road trip together, I will always cherish the memories of that trip. Fortunately, we took many photographs of the family and friends we visited along the way, and I will always have those memories. My mother lived to know that I graduated from grad school in May of 2018. She was too infirm to attend the ceremony, but my friends gave a celebration party for me at our house, and mom really enjoyed that. Shortly after my graduation, my mother entered hospice care. I lived in a state of anticipatory grief until she died on Christmas Day, 2018. Although I knew the day was coming, for some reason, I was not prepared for the eventuality of mom's passing. Christmas time was my mother's favorite time of the year. She loved the nativity story and all the secular Christmas decorations. I think it was only fitting that she passed away Christmas morning. As much as I was happy to have my freedom to come and go as I pleased, the fact is, I miss her now that she's gone. As I reflect on the 5 years of caring for my mother, I realized that the aging and transitioning process can be a lengthy progression. It was 5 years of medical appointments, trips to the emergency room, hospitalizations, procedures, countless trips to the pharmacy to pick up prescription refills. My mother fell at home 7 times, requiring 911 calls to paramedics to come help me get her back into her chair. Following her medical procedures and inpatient stay, I was the one that did the medical and insurance review. I handled the billing discrepancies. I handled all of my mother's end of life business. As I mentioned in the slideshow, since I don't have any children, I cannot help but wonder, when my time comes, who's going to help me die? There were three main topics covered in my narrative, and I'm going to do a brief literature review. I'm still in my time, right? I'm still have time. So the three main topics I covered was end-of-life communication with my elderly mother, regarding end-of-life preparation and preferences, living with anticipatory grief, and caregiver fatigue. So end-of-life communication is really important. One of the things I learned from my research is that elderly parents know their children very well. As a result, some of them don't trust them. So they have their lawyers hold on to the wills, because it is not unheard of for siblings to fight over family assets. It is not unheard of for a disgruntled child to come in and steal the will. So when I learned this through my research, I put my will in the safe deposit safe for my attorney. Same thing with my mother. So we only had copies at the house. The original documents we retained with the lawyers. It was really important that we had advanced directives, because my mother had so many health issues. I did not want to be the one to make decisions about whether she should have a feeding tube, whether she would be resuscitated, those kinds of things. I didn't want to make those. So my mother, as I said, she was a retired nurse, and she was very clear in her own mind what she wanted to do. I discussed everything that we decided with her doctors, of course, with my mother as well. My mother often expressed the concern that she might one day become a burden to me. And this is a concern shared by many elderly people. In the research that I did, I found that many, many elderly people have this concern that they will become a burden to their children. And the fact is, it does come to pass. Very seldom do we have a situation where somebody passes without any aging symptoms at all. Most of the time, there is a slow decline. And caregiving to a disabled or terminally ill patient is burdensome. It's a lot of work. And I hope that I did my best to take care of my mother. I tried my very best every single day of my life. It's important that the invalid discuss their desires with their children. And my mother did that with me, but I have to tell you, when she went into hospice care, the charge nurse posted in orange, in the state of Indiana, the warning notice is orange, and it says, "Do not resuscitate." And even though I knew that was my mother's choice, I have to tell you that my heart fluttered when I saw that sign posted above her bed. The end-of-life communication can be stressful for both the parent and the child, and that's why it's important to be as open and direct and as compassionate as possible, because we want things to be as stress-free as possible for the person facing death and the person that's caregiving. I'd like to talk a little bit more about anticipatory grief, because it was the first time in my life I had ever heard about it. Anticipating the fact that you're going to be sad while you're already being sad. I was very concerned about my mother, because she described her pain some days as agonizing. It was very hard for me to see her. So I had to just accept the fact that the day was going to come. And as I said earlier, even when it did come, I wasn't fully prepared. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that I had to deal with that. And so I took steps ahead of time to deal with a funeral home. And of course, when you're in hospice care, the charge nurse takes care of notifying the coroner and those kinds of things in the state of Indiana. So those items were taken care of for me. I'd like to talk about, not this particular point in time, there is caregiver fatigue. Caregiving is a 24-hour-a-day job, and don't kid yourself. And if you have siblings to help you, it's a wonderful thing. In my case, my 3 brothers all died very young. My mother outlived her sons. So everything fell on me. And fortunately, I was organized most of the time to be able to handle things efficiently and cheerfully, but still some days I felt overwhelmed. Just a little bit of support or encouragement from a friend or a long distance family member would go a long way toward raising my happiness index on a particular day. I was just delighted when someone remembered my situation and did the smallest favor for me. I was so grateful for my friends that stood with me when I really need them, when I had my mastectomy. I mean, I had a wound, so I was bedridden and I was still having to take care of my mother. So I really, really appreciated my friends. What we need to do, according to the research studies, is remember that while it takes a village to raise a child, it also takes a village to support a caregiver. So let's not forget them. The quality of the relationship between the caregiver and the care recipient is also important to consider when evaluating long-term effects of caregiving. Better relationship quality is directed to lowering levels of depression and decreased sense of anxiety in both parties. There has been a lot of research about that. And so I was very interested when I was preparing this. And you understand that positive gains include caregiver satisfaction, reward uplifts, and an increased sense of mastery, a sense of purpose or meaning, the enjoyment of the relationship, or the improved quality of the relationship. I agreed with the authors that caregiving was not all work and no play. My mother and I had our nightly conversations when I was tucking her into bed that became very special to me. I enjoyed serving her delicious meals and was delighted when she actually ate them. I think we became a lot closer to each other in the last weeks of her life. So I just want to encourage all of you, if you have a caregiver in your circle of friends or your family, please reach out and be there for them. It means the world to them, I can truly tell you. And I know that this has been kind of a sad subject matter, but the fact of the matter is most of us will reach a point in our life where we become the caregiver to our aging parents. And so it's good to prepare ourselves a little bit about what is expected of us. And I know that you all have a big heart and will take care of your parents as best you can. And thank you for this opportunity to share my research and narrative with you.
So emotional. It's so emotional.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing that you were able to come to this platform and share it.
Thank you.
So great lessons, great lessons we've learned from that. We appreciate your braveness. We appreciate your courage. And we also appreciate your commitment.
Come, kid.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing, Madam Jeannie.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this, your message is so important, especially when we are talking about relationship. This is a practical thing that you were there for your mother. knowing that your mom has done a lot for you. She was there for you, and now you were there for her because of the mutual relationship. We appreciate you, Mom.
Thank you for your kind.
And for sharing this on our platform. It's a new thing because I've never really listened. But it's very important that we know, especially when we are growing up. And it also shows the importance and it shows the importance of a caregiver. Because sometimes they're not appreciated at all.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes they can just say, oh, is it not just taking care of your mom? It's your mom. But then there's a lot. There's a lot of commitment, sacrifice, dedication. It also makes us to realize what the caregivers, what they are going through. Because this kind of caregiving is so demanding.
Yep.
I used to work in a care home before.
Oh.
Nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
Even the last one I worked with was a home with dementia patients. So I could reason with your stories. And that makes me to feel proud of myself as well.
Yes, yes.
Because carer can be caring for your own mother or your father, or caring for somebody you don't even relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you make us to understand now that it's so precious, even though it's so overwhelming. But it is so good that you've done that. And on this note, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate all the caregivers,
Yes.
carers. Thank you so much for the hard job you're doing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your dedication. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. Thank you so much for denying yourself to take care for other people. Thank you so much for being there, helping them for shopping, for everything. Thank you so much, including our nurses. Because presently I work in the hospital as the admin, but then I work in the ward where the nurses are taking care of the patients. And sometimes the way they will just treat these caregivers, these nurses, is so appealing.
I know, I know.
You know, they just speak to them anyhow. They complain, they blame, they do everything that they don't know the sacrifice, the importance. You were not there for your mom, and somebody else is sacrificing his own time or our time to take care of your own mother. So they don't appreciate all this. Every time when I finish my program now, I'm traveling 1 hour, 30 minutes to London, even though I'm there as an admin, but I don't find myself as my admin. I go round to support the nurses, tap them at the back, hug them, encouraging them. Even with this little I'm doing for them, they love it. They're looking forward for me to come to work. Because I'm not only there supporting them with paperwork or something like that, I'm also emotionally supporting them. Because I know the importance of taking care of others.
Yes.
Ambassador Jeannie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll make sure that this video of yours reach everywhere so that it can encourage others, those that are in that situation of caring for their parents, and those that are in the situation of caring for others. They need to hear this.
Thank you.
To let them know that all their labor of love will not be in vain. The God Almighty will reward them for the labor of love they are sharing.
Mhm.
Because you're doing it from your heart.
Thank you.
And these carers also, they're doing it from their heart. Even though it might seem that they're not being appreciated, but they're still there for them. You were there for your mom.
Yes.
And on behalf of your mom, late mom, we say thank you. Thank you so much for being with her to the last day. Thank you. That's the best you can give to your mom. That's the best, being there. My co-workers just arrived, just came back from taking care of our own dad, dying dad. And when she came back, I could see how overwhelming she was, because she did everything for her dying dad. And when the dad died, at that day, she said to me that on the day of her, even though she's moved back, she's rushed back again to the country, she said she felt satisfied that she was able to stay there and take care of her dad. And then she said to me that even on the day that the dad died, even though she wasn't there, the dad was saying, "Thank you, my daughter. Thank you so much." So they did appreciate it. So your mom appreciates you well. She appreciated you.
Yes. She told me, and it meant a lot, believe
It
me.
meant a lot. That's the gold you can give your mom. Once again, to all our carers out there, your labor of love will never be in vain. God Almighty is seeing everything you're doing for a single soul that you were tirelessly, voluntarily, sacrificely taking care of them. He's watching you, and he will reward you greatly. The greatest reward is that you have been there for somebody that is dying. You give them the best you can give them. So I want to say to you, all carers out there, thank you. Nurses, health cares, caregiver, thank you. Thank you on behalf of your parents, on behalf of your friend, on behalf of the older ones you are taking care of. I want to say thank you. The strength you are using is God's strength. The ability you are using to take care of them is God's ability. We appreciate you. It's so emotional. And I'm glad, Madam Jeannie, for coming to our platform to share this.
Thank you for
Thank
inviting.
you very much. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Wow.
I just want to say one closing thing. And of course, my mother was at my side when I took my first breath as a baby. And I'm happy that I was at her side when she took her last breath as my mother.
Wow. Wow. Well done, Madam Jenny. We are so proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
so
and
much.
Madam Janet, you don't need to be said. You do everything. You give your life. You give everything to your mother. Please, please don't cry. Please be proud. We are proud on you.
No, that's the joy of satisfaction.
Yes.
Professor Nanda, that tear is not the tear of
No,
anger.
she's
It's a tear.
with God.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
God.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your compassion
She's
and
in heaven
thank you.
and waiting for you and me. We will be here like angel, as Jesus promised. God bless
Amazing.
you.
Amazing. God bless you, Madam Jenny. Thank
You
you
have done
so
well.
much.
This has been a wonderful
And
experience.
hope for the best.
Yeah.
Hope
Thank
for the best.
Dr. Queen, do you know what I say for our Madam Janet? I always say she's a blessing. She's a blessing.
She is.
Because, you know, when I see her first time, I really, really have a feeling and said, oh God, you sent her to us.
And
From
thank
USA, yes.
thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you
It's so inspiring.
Thank you for giving me this forum and also for other people. You know, I really appreciated Professor Mateus's presentation too about fathers, because so many children in America don't have father figure in their life. And so a young man has to learn from somebody how to
Yes.
be a father when his time comes. And so it's nice to have this kind of instruction that, and I'm really serious about that. Thank you for appearing, Professor Mateus. Again, I was listening to you so much about how necessary it is for young men to have somebody, a male role model in their life that instructs them on how to be a dad, because they don't have one. And, you know, I think that this is probably a situation around the world, but I know that it's very common in the United States, especially among some demographics. There are no fathers in the household. And that is not good for anyone, not good for the family, not good for the community, not good for our country. So thank you for your program. I enjoyed listening very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Jenny. I would like Professor Mutola to respond to that.
Well, thank you so much, Ambassador. I wrote a lot on the chat. I've learned a lot. You've been showing to us the need and importance to take care, respect, and love our caregivers. Because I love, like when you were saying, someone can just say to someone, take care of the father. He took care of you when you were young, and now it's your turn. But it's not that simple.
It's not.
Like Ambassador said, taking care of a child and someone in your adult is not the same thing, and can be time consuming, energy consuming, resource consuming. But I love the fact that you stood by her to the very last minute. It's a great challenge. In my country, people don't want to spend time with their parents. They send them a lot to those, how do you call those houses where the elderly are kept, you know? Even be in a position financially to stay with them, they want to have nothing to do with their parents. And I've noticed that that's so painful to them, to be in those foster homes when they know I got children who could be helping me. So this is a big lesson from your personal story. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. You brought up the issue of being able to discuss. When in Africa, it's a taboo to talk about death. Even when someone's very sick and you can feel that, oh, he can feel this about to go, it's prohibited to talk about that. But you shed some light that there's need to talk, because that sometimes there are goods involved, you know, inheritance involved. Here it's common place where children kill each other, one another, because of some goods their parents left, because it's not common for us to write our will. We assume that when I write my will, I'm prophesying on death. So we shun from that. But your presentation just brought more light to that.
Yes.
And I really appreciate you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Big
much.
lesson.
Thank
Big
you so
lesson.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so much. Wow, I think that is where we're going to end this show, this masterclass today. It's so amazing, our great teachers today. I mean, the fact that Professor Nada's supposed to be going to the hospital, Professor Mutola supposed to go for another commitment, but because of your story, they couldn't leave.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I remember that I'm leaving, but I'm signing out, but I couldn't sign out.
Yes.
They couldn't
Yes.
leave.
Thank
That is
you.
how powerful your story and your narrative, that's how powerful it is.
Thank you very much for that, because, living through it and having the opportunity to write about it and having her review it while I was in grad school and saying, Mom, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Wow.
And I appreciated that. And I know that, she felt happy that I consulted her. Mom, is it okay if I say this? Mom, what do you think about that? And then she had the final word. Yes, you can say that because that will help people. Go ahead and talk about this, because many women suffer from this problem and they feel ashamed. Talk about it, because the human condition is what it is. And but this has been marvelous for me, being here with you and getting all of this wonderful feedback and kind comments. I appreciate it so very much.
How can we get the book?
You think I need to write it down? Again? Yeah. Thank you
No,
so
actually, when the ambassador was speaking, I really thought of a book. This is a book in and of itself. So if there's no book, maybe consider writing about it, because I help millions of people. We need to have that.
We need the book.
That could be your gift unto us, humanity. We need that.
Well, you've planted a seed, and maybe I'll just go ahead and do that, because I've already done the research, and as I said, I viewed 25 peer-reviewed articles, and of course they're old now because this was 2017 that I wrote this, but I could always update, but the concept is still the same.
And I'm going to make myself commitment to you to make sure that you write the book. So let me let me mentor.
The Queen will check you.
Let me mentor you.
Thank you. I
to
think
put all these things together and publish the book. I think I will be committing myself to it. So whenever you are ready, I am ready for you, ma'am.
Well, you have encouraged.
And I'm going to do it for you free of charge.
Wow, that is a total benefit.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you for your kindness. I appreciate that so much. You see, it's just like you said. God rewards us for the work that we do. So you're playing that part right now. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
Yes.
And I'm going to do that will be my goal for 2024, to get this down into book.
And you will get it done. And yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay, I think we need to be going now so that I can finally release Professor Mutola and Professor Nada, even though we all need to go now. So I want to seize this opportunity on behalf of Y.Y.C.I International to say thank you so much, Madam Ambassador Jeannie Rapstad, for coming, firstly, honoring our invitation, and also appearing to and then shared your very emotional and inspirational story, which before the end of this year, the book will be out.
Okay.
Yes, the book will be out before the end of this year, 2024. Because yes, you can. So I want to say thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. I also want to express my gratitude on behalf of Y.Y.C.I International to Professor Matthias Mutola from Mozambique for your in-depth teaching for 2 days. Yesterday was part 1, today part 2, and if I give him the chance, it might be going all along until we reach part 20. And I've already humbly request, because our masterclass still continue next week. Saturday and Sunday is for resting, but we resume back on Monday. So we still have another 1 week to go. So I want to humbly ask you to check your diary or your calendar and let us know if we can have another opportunity next week. Sir, for next week, if we can have the opportunity. If not, we might want to rearrange another masterclass so that you can also come and give us more, because father figure in our family, in the society, and in this world matters a lot. Yes. Very, very important. And we are not using it to condemn, blame, or judge anybody. But we believe that as long as we are still living, we can improve, we can get better, we can be happy, we can make a change in the world, and we can impart into our younger generation. Because one day, they too will become fathers. So when we use this kind of masterclass to prepare them, they can break the chain. They can break the barrier. They don't have to be with the system anymore. And that is where we say that mindset is everything. When you have the fixed mindset, then you continue the whole system all over again, like a circle. But when you start renewing your mindset and continue to grow your mindset with the positive and right information, then you can experience transformation. And transformation in your life, in my life, in the relationship, in even what we do to ourselves, even to others. So that is why we continue with this masterclass. And we've declared February being the celebration of love, that I know that a lot of people have bought chocolates, flowers, and cards yesterday. But you know what? The card, after one day, it's devalued. The flowers, probably after one day, it fade away. The chocolate, once you eat it, that is it. But what we are teaching on this platform is ongoing and it is everlasting, that will help them to be happy, to be healthy, to live long, and have peace of mind. And that is what we declare. That is why we declare February as a month of building our love, our relationship, our marriage, and even our friendship. So that's why we set up these 3 months of February. And it's also my birthday last week. So what a best way to give to the world this kind of powerful,
Yes, because
powerful message that all my speakers have delivered. It's the best gift we can give to the world. And I want to believe that everyone that listened to this video after today, their lives, their love, their relationship, their marriage, their home, their lives will be transformed. So thank you so much. And on this note, I don't want to really take any of your time again. The fact that I'm also need to prepare myself to go to London and do some supporting my nurses and doctors in the hospital. I want to say thank you. And this is where we will end this masterclass today. Thank you so much, Dr. Samina. from Pakistan for listening attentively to my great leaders, my great speakers today. Thank you, and thank you so much. Artist, Mr. Magic Joseph, this is your first time of joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you, and the journey continues.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm touched and blessed to be the family of YYCI. And yes, I can. And today I am really touched by Professor Jenny's. I would like to say that she is our mother, and never think or feel that you have no children. Uh, you are the mother of us, because you uh, give this idea of care with people, especially your mother. And motherhood is the greatest gift for the human being. And being artist, I offer, as Dr. Queen said, that she will help you to write a book for Jenny. And being a visual artist, I offer myself that if you need, I will draw, paint title of your book.
Wow.
As the doctor said, free of cost, because I, especially, I hats of my hat for you, because and I wipe my tears, because uh, according to me, sensitivity is humanity. Preaching humanity is an art. So, Jenny, you are mother of us, as Mother Teresa uh, nurse wounded of those people who are marginalized and neglected by the so-called society. So Mother Teresa uh, devote her self for the wounded people, and people those who are in sufferings and neglected by the society. So you follow Mother Teresa, you follow Jesus Christ. So Christ uh, uh, crossed and stretched himself on the cross. So, Mother Jenny, I hats off to you. And plus, uh, uh, I forget the name of professor who present his presentation on father's love. I am a visual artist, and my father was my first art teacher. So he named her studio uh, Abu. Abu means father, and in Urdu we say Abu means father. So he named his studio Abu Tashfin, means that my father dedicate his work to his son, and I am a son of my father. So I am again touched by this presentation of fatherhood. So indeed, it's my first experience when I am very emotionally attached with the idea of relationship. So let me share with you one of my uh, it's a logo of my studio, which is Studio Abu Tashfin. Means my father dedicate this space with. So this is my studio space. So the idea is that my father uh, gave me this light uh, and, and human idea of humanity to me. So that's why, and I am really thankful to Dr. Queen Elizabeth to provide me this opportunity to be the a tiny part of this amazing family, and you all are my mentors. Uh,
Thank you.
really, thank
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this moment.
I also want to thank you for your very kind words and for your offer of to help me. So I want to graciously accept your offer so we can create the book and you can create the cover. And it'll be my great honor to accept your favor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother, and thank
Amazing.
you.
And another thing he also said, he said that even though you said that you don't have children, you are also our mother and mother of the nation. I like that. I like that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have many children.
Super.
Yes.
I like that very much because I'm 75 years old, so I
Wow.
can certainly be the mother of every one of you.
Yeah. You are, and we appreciate that.
But
Amazing,
still
amazing.
Mother.
still looking young.
Yes, you're
Young.
looking young. 75. Wow, wow, wow.
Gorgeous, gorgeous Mother.
And on this note, with the permission given to me by everyone on this platform, and speaking on behalf of Yes You Can International, I would like you all to agree with me that Ambassador Jeannie Rapstad will become our Yes You Can International USA president.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. 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 Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
Yes. Yes, she can. Yes, we can.
And
Yes.
So you
we
are
have a
welcome
mother from
fully to
USA.
our
Wow.
family.
Thank
So
you
you are
very,
welcome fully to
you very
our family.
I appreciate that so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we need to go. And I want to say thank you to my ambassador, once again, Ambassador Abza, the sister to our brother that just spoken right now. So let me give her a little bit chance to express her guide, because she invited her brother, and our brother that just spoke to us now, she is joining us for the first time. So we want to hear from you. Thank you for inviting your brother to join us on this platform and also to join YYCI. Thank you for inviting him. Okay, and his first time is given our guests a gift, so which is really good. Okay, you want to send something quickly before we go? Hello.
God bless you. Thank you.
And I'm very thankful for this giving chance. And again, we attached with this platform and learn lots of things because we are nothing. And when we learn lots of things and improve ourselves and do something good in this society. And thank you for this chance in 2024. And today I'm very thankful for this topic of relationship because Tashvin said to me that I'm so blessed, Aksa, because they are very educated and learn lots of things in this platform. And thank you so much. And
Thank you.
you can see the behind this picture.
Oh,
This
you're
is
also
the
the
painting
family.
artist Joseph. And especially Tashvin said that you can present this painting because I want to express the feelings of this relationship. You can see this safety pin.
Yeah.
Safety pin, and after that the oval, and the attach the oval with this safety pin, and paint on canvas. And say that the title of this painting is relationship in this society with mother and child. You can see this. And when anybody to come in this society to grow in the mother home, and make this you can see this oval. And after that we uh, observe and we learn lots of things through this society, and make this image to title of relationship. And thank you so much, Dr. Queen Elizabeth, to giving the chance and sharing the artwork and sharing the idea with all of you.
Thank
I'm
you
so
so
blessed.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. God bless
Thank
you.
Thank you
you.
so much. Thanks so much.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Dr. Samina from Pakistan, do you want to do the closing prayer and also express yourself quickly? Quickly.
Thank you so much for this platform and for all the speakers. All the messages were very good about relationship. We need to share such kind of things with each other because the relationship is a bond with us, with parents, with children, with colleagues, with our society, with husbands, and everyone. Relationship is must. And Professor Nada, your message was also very good because financial problems are very important to share. These are the issues of the society. We need money
Yes,
in every
thanks.
area of our life, and money makes the mayor go. You know this idiom, and union is also. So God bless everyone, and God make us united like this, so that in this year we learn and we grow, and we listen valuable lessons day by day and grow daily. So I bless all honorable speakers and Queen Elizabeth, especially that she is doing effort for this wonderful uh, masterclass, and we are thankful to you and appreciate everyone who is participating and giving the time on this wonderful platform. So let's bow our heads and pray for. Can I
Yes, yes,
do
please.
this?
Randall,
Yes.
yes,
Pray.
yes.
Okay. I thank you, Father, for this wonderful day. I thank you for everyone who is here on this platform. I adore you. I praise you. I acknowledge you that you are our Father and you know our weaknesses, our limitations, everything which we need, you know. And you know our financial problems, our spiritual problems and family issues. So you have given us this opportunity that we should share with each other and we should learn from each other. So I pray for all speakers, may their work be reflection of a good purpose on this platform and have lot of fruit, 30%, 60%, and 100%. I think, and everyone grant us, Lord, the spirit of strong relationship with each other, learn us and know the way, show the way, how we move forward. And as your will is done on the heaven, so it is on the earth. Give us all the wisdom, knowledge to grow forward day by day, especially hard work and the effort of Queen Elizabeth for all of us. I appreciate, I thank her very much. May she live long and do this effort day by day and polish our valuable things day by day. God bless all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
In the
much.
name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you once again. Thank you so much, Madam Ambassador Jenny. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really appreciate you. My professor, my teacher, my mentor, my everything, Professor Mutola. Thank you so much. My friend, my professor, Nada Raskofi. Thank you so much. My brother that just joined us, Taffy, thank you so much. And Agsa, thank you so much. Aksa, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Samina, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. On this note, we need to end this program.
The question is, can I?
This program, it's just our closing fun, really. So I ask a question, then they respond back. That is our nature in YYCI. On this occasion, that we've rounded up for another 1 week of mindset for transforming relationship, and today is Friday. It's for us to go for weekend and rest. So I want to throw these important questions to all my audience, including our Facebook that have joined us, our friends on Facebook. Can I?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
Yes,
you can.
I haven't finished my question. Can I end this conference or this masterclass now?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you
Yes, you
can.
can.
I
yes,
think
you
Yes.
can.
I
Yes, we
think
can.
Professor Mutola didn't want us to leave this place because I didn't hear. I want it to be corporate so that I will have the power. You know, yeah, I'm giving yes, you can energy to you. I need that energy back. So I'm going to repeat it again. Can I end this masterclass now?
Yes, you can.
I can hear
Yes,
you.
you can.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yes,
the last time I want every one of us to say yes, you can at the same time. That is the energy that I need.
yes.
Okay, can I end this masterclass now?
Yes,
Yes,
you
you
can.
can.
you can.
Thank you so much.